Hello students, welcome to this module, which is part 2 of our series on mathematical preliminaries required for our course CHE 614. In this module I am going to focus on infinite dimensional spaces, which are basically the spaces where functions live, so to speak, right? So you can think of a function, let's say u of x, and let's say, and you have an operator like the second differential of that function. In general, if you operate this function, let's think of the operator as minus d squared by dx squared operating on u of x, you will get some other function g of x. This is very similar to the linear operator operating on a vector a to give b, okay, another vector b. In the previous module we saw that if b is given and if a has to be found, if you need to find a, then it was profitable to go to the eigenbasis of the matrix M or the operator M. It simplified the solution of A because the system of equations that arose, they became independent or decoupled. Okay, let's see if we can do a similar thing in the case of infinite dimensional spaces for functions. Let's say the task is that this is given and you need to find this. So that is typically the what we call a differential equation. You want to find that function which satisfies the differential equation. Now this function u of x is now expanded in terms of some uk times ek of x. These are the eigenfunctions of the operator minus d squared by dx squared. How do we do that? How do we find these eigenfunctions? Well, you have to solve what is called the eigenvalue problem. What is the eigenvalue problem? It's minus d squared ek by dx squared is equal to lambda k ek. Okay, these are the eigenvalues and these are the eigenfunctions. Okay, so any differential operator will need to be specified with boundary conditions. The boundary conditions are at x equal to 0. Let's say you have u of 0 is 0. At x equal to L, let's say that's a domain, u of L is 0. Okay, so we have to solve the eigenvalue problem wherein the eigenfunctions also satisfy the same boundary conditions. Okay, now if you solve this differential equation, you will easily see that ek of x is nothing but some ak cos of root lambda k x plus bk sine root lambda k x. If I use this condition that at x equal to 0 the functions eigenfunctions to be 0, then the coefficients ak must be 0. Okay, so we are now left with only the other condition. At x equal to L, ek of x equal to L is 0. That means bk sine of root lambda k times L should be 0. bk's themselves cannot be 0, then you will get a trivial solution. So sine of root lambda k L is 0, or root lambda k times L should be equal to n pi or k pi, let's say. Okay, so if I square this, I'll get lambda k is k squared pi squared by L squared. These are the eigenvalues. Okay, now therefore we have found the and here k can be 1, 2, 3, 4, any integer. Okay, now these are called eigenfunctions. This ek of x is equal to sine root lambda k x, with lambda k being given by this particular expression. These are the eigenfunctions for this differential eigenvalue problem, with this boundary condition that the eigenfunction should go to 0 at the two boundaries. It is important for you to understand that the boundary conditions also play a very important role in determining the nature of the eigenfunctions and eigenvalues for a given differential eigenvalue problem. Okay, now we have found the eigenvalues and eigenfunctions. So our job is to write. Remember that what we set out to solve is this problem. Okay, we need to find u of x. So instead of finding u of x, I will expand u of x in the basis of the eigenfunctions. Okay, sine k pi x upon L, okay, where k going from 1 to a very large number n, and instead of finding u of x, I'll find the coefficients of expansion u of k. Once I know u of k, I'll do the summation to find what is u of x. So let's go back to the ordinary differential equation that we set out to solve, linear ordinary differential equation, g of x, right? Now minus d squared by dx squared. Instead of u, I'm going to substitute this expansion. This is nothing but summation over k uk sine k pi x upon L is equal to g of x. Now this is a linear operator, so you can take it inside the sum, and this will give you summation uk. Now if I operate this on this, what I will get is simply plus k squared pi squared upon L squared times sine k pi x upon L is equal to g of x. Okay, now if you summation over k, now if you were to solve for these uk's, okay, so that's what we are interested in. So we have to use what is called orthogonality of the eigenfunctions. Just as in geometry, these two vectors are orthogonal because I1 dot I2 is 0. In a similar way, you can define what are called inner products for functions with or which are the equivalent of dot products of vectors. So inner products of two functions is denoted as 0 to L, a of x, b of x dx. I'm assuming that a and b are real valued. I'll come to complex valued functions in a bit. Let's assume that these are real valued. Otherwise, there is a small modification that is required in order to write the inner products. Okay. So right now, let's assume that they are real. That means that now, just as these vectors are orthogonal, you also have this very important property that this orthogonality of this sine eigenfunctions, sine k pi x upon L times sine m pi x upon L dx is sum L by 2 times delta km. Okay, so this L by 2 can be made 1 by simply redefining our sine functions. I mean, that is called normalizing the eigenfunctions. We can say the eigenfunctions are root 2 over L sine k pi x by L and root 2 over L sine m pi x by L. Okay, and sorry, root L over 2, root L over 2. Okay, if I define like this, then this root L over 2, root L over 2 will cancel on the right side to give this combination. If I take the inner product, I will simply get delta km. So that's just a matter of detail, which is the normalization of eigenfunction as per one's convenience. Right now, all that is important is that only if k is equal to m, you will get a non-zero value. Otherwise, you will get a 0. Right? That is the orthogonality of these eigenfunctions. Now, I need to use this in this expression. Okay. what I will do is I'll multiply both sides by sine m pi x by L, and I will I'll integrate, or which is the equivalent of taking the inner product. Okay, so what I will do is simply say that multiply, okay, by sine m pi x by L, and you do an integration over 0 to L dx on both sides of this equation. Let's call this A of A. Okay, now the moment you do that, you will realize that what you will get, and then you use orthogonality, summation k uk. You already have a sine k pi x, and then if you multiply by sine m pi x by L and do an integration, you will simply get delta km times L by 2, and then you already had k squared pi squared by L squared. On the right side you have 0 to L g of x sine m pi x by L dx. Now if you have a delta Kronecker delta function under summation, this summation is going to be killed by this Kronecker delta, and all you will be left is just um, because this summation will be 0 only if k equal to m. K is a running index, whereas m is a given index of your choice. So this will be simply m squared pi squared, now by 2l, because there is one l that will cancel. And on this side, this can be thought of as the coefficient. If you were to expand g in terms of the sine function, eigenfunction, then this will be gm, the coefficient of expansion. So what is m squared pi squared by if you look at the eigenvalue, k squared pi squared by L squared is the eigenvalue, right? So k squared pi squared by L squared is the eigenvalue. So if you call this um, and m squared pi squared by L squared is, let's say, lambda m, okay, then m squared pi squared by L will be simply L times lambda m upon 2 is gm, or um is gm upon lambda m L by 2. This is just because our eigenfunctions weren't normalized. Otherwise, if you had a normalized eigenfunction, then the coefficients of expansion will be simply given. These are the unknown coefficients of expansion. Remember, we are trying to solve this differential equation, and we don't know what are these, and those are what we are finding now in terms of the known Fourier. This is a known function, so you know how to do this integration, and you can do this integration and get gm. So these are known, and of course you have solved the eigenvalue problem, so these are also known. So we have solved the differential equation using the method of eigenfunction expansions. Okay, so this is something that is very similar to what we had done in the previous module. In the previous module, if you remember, we solved m a equal to b, and in the eigenbasis you found that a1 is b1 by lambda 1, a2 is b2 by lambda 2. This is very similar to what we had found here, or you can say ai is bi by lambda I. Here you get um is gm by lambda m. Gm is the Fourier coefficient, or the expansion coefficient of the known function g of x. Here bi's are the expansion coefficients of the known vector b of b, right? And lambdas are the eigenvalues. Here lambda is the eigenvalues. Here lambda m's are the eigenvalues. And this is simply because okay, in the normalized case you will not have L by 2, you'll simply have this. So this will be this is indeed very similar to what we had done before for finite dimensional spaces. We actually did it for 2 dimensions, but that idea is true for any finite dimensional space. Okay, so this is how one uses or exploits the method of eigenfunction expansion to solve problems, to solve differential equations, linear differential equations of the type that I just showed. Okay, I'll stop here and I'll continue with a little bit more on functions and eigenfunctions expansions in the in the next module. Okay, we'll stop here right now.